Good evening, Dr. INTAN AZMIRA and Dr. ALIAS. I am Justin Leong. Today I am going to present my FYP title, Safety Risk Assessment on Portable Electrical Equipment in FKE Laboratories. Although the portable electrical equipment does not provide high current, but it does endanger the people. The bar chart shows the electrical accident caused by defective of electrical equipment in the last 5 years. From this chart, we can see that the accidents are increasing every 5 years. Next, the proposed statement of this project is there are no standard or regulation in Malaysia that have fixed the legalization to provide portable appliance testing. Even though the electrical at work regulation from the United Kingdom does not specify the whole process guide should be applied in PAT, who is certified to apply the PAT and how long should apply the PAT once the equipment. There is two objectives are determined: to study the process of carrying out the inspection, check, and electrical testing for portable appliances. Secondly, to analyze the result of earth continuity, insulation resistance, and substitute leakage current tests by using portable appliance tester. Next, I'm going to present the literature review. What is portable appliance? Portable appliance is an electrical equipment that is able to move and transportable with or without a power socket attached to the electrical supply or direct switch is considered a portable appliance. There are three types of different classes of portable appliance. Class 1 is the 3-pin plug which consists of light, neutral, and earth. Class 2 is at least 2 layers of insulating material used to provide protection from any electrical hazard. Class 3 is protected from supplying a separate extra low voltage source. The main electrical testing applied to the FKE laboratories are Earthbound test, insulation resistance test, and substitute leakage test. Firstly, Earthbound test is measuring the resistance between the earth conductor of the equipment cable plug or socket and the exposed metal work on the equipment. If the test value is greater than the maximum reading shown in the table, meaning that the appliance does not perform well grounding to prevent electrical shock. Secondly, insulation resistance test is measuring the total resistance between 2 points that are separated by electrical insulation. If the test value does not achieve the minimum insulation resistance shown in this table, meaning that the appliance does not completely insulate the flow of current, which will cause the leakage of current. Lastly, the substitute leakage test is measuring the leakage current in the earth conductor by using a low AC voltage, which is about 35 VAC. If the test value is greater than the maximum touch current shown in the table, meaning that the current that is lost along the way is endangered to the people when touching the appliance. The substitute leakage test actually is the alternative way of applying the insulation test. Besides, the table shows the comparison of the frequency of applying for the PAT from the University of Essex, University of Nottingham, Health and Safety Executive, and Institution of Electrical Engineers. From all of the organization, the Health and Safety Executive is selected as a guide for our university because they have complete guidance with proven results. Next, I'm going to present the methodology. This is the flowchart of the Class 1 operation. Firstly, we have to apply the simple visual check before testing by a PAT tester. After that, we set out the PAT tester by zeroing the Earthbound test. For IT equipment, the Earthbound test with 200 mA and substitute leakage tests are applied. For non-IT equipment, the Earthbound test with 25 A and insulation resistant tests are applied. Record the data if all the tests are passed. either a test field, the equipment need to label with field sign and reporting to the person in charge. For Class 2, the procedures are same as Class 1, except for the absence of Earthbound test in Class 2 equipment test. This is because Class 2 has only 2 pins, but Class 3 have 3 pins. Next, this is how I setting up the PLT tester. The first feature is the connection of the zeroing Earthbound test, which is the calibration of the PLT tester. The second is the connection of Earthbound test, and the third is the connection of insulation resistance and leakage current test. After all the portable appliances are tested in the FKE laboratories by using PLT tester, and the PLT results are analyzed by using ANOVA and chi-square independent tests. Firstly, ANOVA statistical analysis tool is used to determine the variability of the sample mean of different groups. There are two hypotheses made. The null hypothesis is there are no significant difference among the mean. Next, the alternative hypothesis is significant difference among the mean. If F statistic greater than F critical and p-value less than 0.05, null hypothesis is rejected, meaning there are significant difference among the means. Second, the chi-square independent test is used to determine the independency of two variables of the contingency table. Two hypotheses are made. The null hypothesis is the PLT result and year in service of the portable appliance are independent. Meanwhile, the alternative hypothesis is dependent. If chi-square test is more than the critical number, the null hypothesis is rejected. After that, I'm going to present the result and discussion. A total 138 number of HP desktops were applied to the Earthbound test and substitute leakage test. Both tests are analyzed by using ANOVA and chi-square independent test. The table shows the analysis of the Earthbound test. From the ANOVA table, the critical value 2.67 is greater than the F statistic 0.822 and the p-value 0.48 is greater than 0.05. This comparison failed to reject the null hypothesis. So the mean among the group of the year in service are not significantly different. Besides, the chi-square table shows the x squared is equal to 3.94. It is lower than the critical value of 7.815. This value is calculated and obtained from the chi-square distribution table. Due to the x squared is lower than the 7.815, it failed to reject null hypothesis. So the HP desktop from FKE Laboratories is independent on its year in service. Is the substitute leakage test of the HP desktop. Same amount of the desktop were tested by using the PLT tester. The result of the ANOVA analysis show there are significant difference among the mean in the group of year in service. Due to the F critical 2.67 is lower than the F statistic 9.69 and the p-value is lower than 0.05 as well. Other than that, the chi-square value x squared equal to 28.56, which is higher than 7.815. So the substitute leakage test of the HP desktop is dependent on its year in service. As a conclusion, it needs to be focused on the leakage current test for the HP desktop. Next, a total number of 131 automatic voltage regulators are applied to the Earthbound test and insulation resistance test. Both tests are analyzed by using ANOVA and chi-square independent tests as well. From the ANOVA analysis, the table shows the mean among the year of service are significantly different due to the F critical 2.68 is lower than F statistics 15.554. and p-value is lower than 0.05. From the chi-square independent test, the x-square is equal to 11.12 is higher than 7.815. It means that the Earthbound test of the automatic voltage regulator are dependent on its year of service. Besides, the insulation test value for the automatic voltage regulator have exceeds 1 megaohm. Hence, it can be concluded that the device do not perform any danger of leakage current due to high insulation resistance reading, but it does need focus on the Earthbound test for the equipment. Moreover, 46 oscilloscopes were tested in FKE Laboratories. The table of this slide shows the Earthbound test of ANOVA and chi-square analysis. From the ANOVA table, the F critical 3.21 is lower than the F statistic 7.05. So the null hypothesis is rejected, meaning there is significant difference among the means. Next, the chi-square table shows the x-square is lower than 5.991, meaning that the relationship between the Earthbound test and year in service is independent. According to the average of the equipment, the longer the year in service and the higher the average value of the Earthbound test. Thus, the oscilloscope that serve with longer year have reached the value that is approximately to the maximum resistance of Earthbound test. The insulation test of all oscilloscopes also exceeds 1 megaohm. Thus, it can be concluded that the device does not perform any danger of leakage current due to high insulation resistance reading. Lastly, a total of 36 digital analog training systems applied to the Earthbound test and insulation resistance test. From the ANOVA analysis, the table shows the mean among the year of service are significantly different due to the F critical 3.28 is lower than F statistic 27.73 and p-value is lower than 0.05. For the chi-square independent test, the x-square is equal to 36.74 is higher than 5.991. It means that the Earthbound test of the digital analog training system are dependent on its year of service. The insulation resistance test is the same as the result of the oscilloscope and regulator, that it can conclude that the insulation reading of this equipment are performing well and safe. However, the Earthbound test of this equipment need to be paid attention. Last but not least, I did apply the Earthbound test to all tested equipment, which were a total 341 number of equipment. Those results were analyzed by using ANOVA and chi-square, shown on the table. Both null hypotheses were rejected. This shows the mean amount of year of service are significantly different, and then the relationship between the Earthbound test result and its year of service are dependent. Other than the analysis, the bar chart shows the percentage versus year in service for the Earthbound test of the all tested equipment. The blue bar represents the percentage of the equipment that passes the test, while the red bar is the percentage of the equipment that fail the test. We can see that the equipment that serve more than 10 years have a higher percentage of failing the Earthbound test than the other equipment, especially the equipment with 19 years of service perform almost 80% of failing the test. Besides, the equipment that serve less than 10 years perform 60% above of achieving the safety for Earthbound test. The device with 11, 17, and 19 years of service perform a higher average of Earthbound test value than other years, which cause the mean value of the Earthbound test for each year in service to be significantly different from ANOVA analysis. Moreover, the chi-square independent tests have proved that the pass or fail of the Earthbound test are dependent on the year in service of the device, and it can be concluded that the year in service is one of the factors that affect the safety of a device. Now I am going to present the conclusion and the recommendation for this study. In the conclusion, for the first objective, the whole process of applying the PAT to the portable appliance was studied in order to provide the accurate result of PAT in safety way. To achieve the second objective, the ANOVA and chi-square independent tests were applied to the PAT result from the equipment. Based on the ANOVA and chi-square analysis, the longer the year of equipment use, the greater the percentage of equipment failing the PAT result. Other than that, we recommend the confidence level of the sample size calculation can be set to 99% and minimize the margin of error to 1%. This can increase the accuracy of the analysis in order to provide a highly systematic progress to testing and maintaining the portable appliance. Thank you.